Keep Kamala's greedy hands out of your pockets, and I will deliver gigantic tax cuts for working families of Pennsylvania. Thank you. And very importantly, this is so important because this is something, and she tried to copy me, that didn't work out like she tried. A few months later, she said it, she got slaughtered. We will have no tax on tips. No tax on overtime. And no tax on Social Security benefits for seniors. No tax. No tax. And you know, it's going to lead to great things. A lot of people don't give. I know a lot about overtime. I hated to give overtime. I hated it. I'd get other people, I shouldn't say this, but I'd get other people in, I wouldn't pay. I hated. This is going to lead to a lot more. I think it's going to be economically positive, but I'm not even doing it for that reason. I'm doing it because like the no tax on overtime, it's something so good, but no tax for the seniors. Do we have any seniors here? I hate to admit it. I'm a senior. They'll say, he's got a conflict of interest. He's giving this to himself. Watch. I'll end up in front of a grand jury tomorrow. Donald Trump has suggested no tax on Social Security benefits. And he's got a conflict of interest. We're putting him before a grand jury because I've seen more grand juries than Alphonse Capone. And he averaged about killing one person a week. Alphonse, the meanest of them all. I know more about grand juries than Alphonse ever even thought about. My father's looking down on my mother. They're great people. They say, can you believe my son did this? Can you believe that my son would run for politics and be treated this way? But you know what? And we're doing great. We won the big case in Florida. We're winning them all. I'll tell you what, did you see? We won the big case. That was the big one. They're going to get him in Florida. They're going to get him in Florida. It was always... That seemed to be the documents case. I had every right to have him, called the Presidential Records Act. That's what they passed it for. But he didn't have that act because he wasn't president. And he got out. You know how he got out? And I don't want to talk about him too much because she's running. Maybe he'll go back. If she does really badly, they'll probably put him back. Let's rechange. But think of this. So they got him out. They said, he's guilty of what he did, but he's grossly incompetent. Which she never told us, by the way. That's putting our country at risk. She should have told us. But he's incompetent, so nobody like this should be able to go to court. So think of it. He can't go to court, but he can run the United States of America. There's something wrong with that, right? There's something wrong with that. But the big case was a documents case in Florida. And we had a brilliant judge who was somebody that understood this whole thing. And I won the case in its entirety, and they go like, that was the big one. The big one was that we're going to get him in Florida. We're going to get that documents case. No, these are very crooked people. These people have weaponized the justice system, and we're not going to let it happen. We're not going to let it happen. It's a shame, but that's what it's been. Just makes your job more difficult. But it's all what we fight and the resolve that we have. It's the big reason why we're leading in Pennsylvania. And the Emerson poll just came out. I just heard 2 seconds ago, actually. We're up in Pennsylvania, Arizona, Wisconsin, Georgia, and they're the only ones they did. Even the New York Times, they're not big fans of mine. I'm not big fans of them, the failing New York Times. The Siena poll, we're up in North Carolina by a lot. And we're up in Georgia by 4, and we're up in Arizona by 5. That's in the New York Times. If they say that, David, that means we're up by, he goes, Uncle Sam said triple. I think you're right. Uncle Sam, please stand up. Look at this guy. Thank you. And by the way, he doesn't work for me. He goes to a lot of these, you know, they say it's the greatest show on earth. It is pretty great, isn't it, though? Isn't it? The people make it great. It's the greatest show on earth. But He does, Uncle Sam, I don't know who he is, but I shook his hand the other day, like at the Nassau Coliseum when we had a big one, but I shook his hand. He's got the strongest hands. He almost broke. I couldn't believe it. I said, Uncle Sam has strong hands. David, I was complaining the whole night. I said, I'm never shaking that guy's hand again. Have you known that? You have strong hands. He said, thank you, sir, very much. And I felt that cracking feeling, right? Now, you're a strong guy, right? Strong hands. What did you do for a living?
I wanted to go to your inauguration.
Okay. That's a roofer. Good. I can see it. Good. I'll bet you're a good one, too. Thank you. Thank you, Uncle Sam. You know, when she gets a little, she doesn't get a crowd, but when she gets a little crowd, they have buses coming in. So we take pictures of the buses. We give them to the fake news. They never report it, you know? But they have the bus people. And then they only show the first 3 or 4 rows. But we don't, like Uncle Sam. I mean, I don't pay anybody to come. We don't do any of that stuff. We have the most incredible group of people all over the country. No, I mean, if you were up in Wisconsin, you would have seen something that actually was incredible. But we're winning in Pennsylvania, and the main thing that we have to do is we have to get out the vote. We have to get out the vote, because if we lose this election, we are going to have a problem with this country, the likes of which I think no country has ever faced before. Here in Pennsylvania, you also need to vote for your next senator, and he's a great guy. I've known him for a long time. He's a winner in the military. He's a winner in life. He's got a fantastic wife and family. And I'm telling you, he's a warrior. He was a warrior in the military. He then goes into private practice, and he made a lot of money. He ran one of the biggest firms, and did really great, respected so much beyond this, and he just wanted to do something, I would say, for the country and for Pennsylvania, because, you know, Pennsylvania to the country, but he loves his country, and he loves the Commonwealth. And Dave McCormick, just come up for a second, would you, Dave? Come on up.
All right, thank you, Mr. President, and hello, Erie, how are you? You know, I just wanted to say, Mr. President, thank you for coming back to the Keystone State. This is the place where we're going to retire Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and send you back to the White House, right here in Pennsylvania, right here, this state, right here in Erie. Erie, the bellwether, right here. And this is also where we're going to have the chance to fire a guy named Bob Casey. Bob Casey is weak. He's weak. He's a career politician. He's liberal, and we got to send him back in and bring a Republican majority to the Senate to get the Trump agenda across the finish line. And you know, I'm new to politics, but ever since I can remember, I've had people tell me, this is the most important election of your lifetime. How many times have we heard it? I want to tell you, my friends, this, for our kids, for our grandkids, this is the most important election of our lifetimes, right here. And it's a race. It's a race between strength, a guy who says fight, 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 and weakness, the weakness of Kamala Harris. It's a race between common sense policies and a radical liberal agenda. You don't have to listen to me. This is a woman who said, in her own words, we want to ban fracking. We want to transition energy workers. We want to give amnesty to 10 million illegal immigrants. We want to make sure they have federal benefits. We want to have mandatory buybacks of your guns. We want to defund the police. And how about this? We want to reduce your red meat consumption, right? We need common sense leadership. It's common sense. We need a leader who's going to open up our energy sector, that pure, beautiful natural gas from Pennsylvania right here, President Trump. We need leadership to tame. We got to tame this inflation and help working families with President Trump. We need to bring law and order to our cities, and we need to secure that border and stop these illegal immigrants coming in and bringing crime and fentanyl into Pennsylvania. And most important, our adversaries around the world are testing us. They're challenging us every day. We need peace through strength that we only will get if we get President Trump back in the White House and a majority in the Senate. So I want to tell you all, this is the most important election of your lifetime, but it depends on you. You got to get out there. You got to tell your friends. You got to get them to vote. This is the most important election of your lifetime. Let's go do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Great, Dave. That's great, David. So get out. Dave McCormick, great guy. You got to get him in. He'll be a tremendous asset, tremendous help to you and to everybody. We're also pleased to be joined by a couple of real warriors. Mike Kelly, who I mentioned before. Mike, please stand up. Congressman. This guy he's a great guy. He's been my friend for a long time. I won't say how long because I don't want to have them think we're a little old, because we're not old. Where it counts, we're not old. But I'll tell you, Mike is a tremendous guy, and he's been that for a long time, and he loves your Commonwealth, and he loves it a lot, and he loves our country. So thank you, Mike, for being here. Appreciate it. And another longtime friend, Nick Langworthy, who is Congressman, doing really well. I've known him he was the leader of the party. He was the leader of everything he's done, and you're doing a great job. Thank you very much, Nick. Thank you. And a very popular mayor of Slippery Rock, J.D. Longo. Thank you, J.D. Thank you. Good job. Good job. And all the other people, we have so many people here. We won't do all, and I apologize, but we got to get back to it, and then we'll get the hell out of here. You go home, watch a football game or something, right? Lion Kamala Harris is the worst vice president acknowledged to be in history. Everyone thought she wouldn't get it, but they wanted to be political.